Hello everybody, my name is Rebecca Flanagan and today we are going to be doing a Green Schools activity under the theme of the travel flag. So today we're going to be building a sustainable city in a box. It's going to be very easy and I'm going to take you through a few steps, and you can also come up with lots of ideas of your own to build a miniature sustainable city. We're not going to need a lot of materials for this. Everything that I'm going to be using can be found in your recycling bin, and many of the tools that you need can easily be found in the kitchen or maybe in your arts and crafts box. So I'm going to take you through some of the materials that you will definitely need: a ruler, scissors, paint. So poster paint will do. Now some glue if you have it. This is PVA craft glue, or you can use Pritt stick glue, a paintbrush, and if you have some tape, that's really handy for sticking everything down. You could either use masking tape, which is good on paper surfaces, or you can use sellotape or scotch tape. You'll need a pencil, and always good to have some markers for decoration. Alright, so now the materials that you do need to build your city will be a cardboard box. So you can either use a small cardboard box like this, which is a shoebox, or you can go a little bit bigger and use a larger cardboard box like this. Now all the materials that we need to build everything we need within our city can be found in the recycling bin. So cardboard is really great. You can use things like loo roll holders. Packaging like this, especially rectangular packaging made from cardboard, is really easy for making little buildings. And also clear hard plastic like this is quite handy for making windows. Also, if you can get your hands on some shiny reflective surfaces like this or tin foil, they can be great for doing solar panel roofs or, again, windows on your skyscraper buildings. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a backdrop for the city. And to do that, I'm going to take the cardboard box and I'm going to take the scissors and I'm going to cut 3 of the corners down flat. So all that remains should be one corner that stands up straight, and the other flaps can fall down to the side. As I was working on all of the little buildings and houses for my sustainable city, I began to think that maybe there wasn't going to be so much room for walking and cycling, because I had a lot of buildings to fit in and a lot of other ideas I wanted to cram into this seemingly sustainable city. So I thought, where am I going to put a cycle track and a walking path? And as I cut down the sides of the cardboard box and I collapsed the flaps over, they would be the lid of the box, I began to think that maybe we could put a greenway up high above the buildings where there'd be more natural light and there'd be plenty of room for green space. This then got me thinking of the High Line in New York City. And if you've ever seen any imagery of that, I'll take you to a few clips now. It's super interesting and a really innovative way to recreate new green space out of old, unused infrastructure. So the High Line was in fact an old abandoned railway track which weaved through the high-density buildings in New York City. The space was recreated into a 2.5-kilometre linear park, elevated high above the shaded pavements below. Here you can walk, admire the skyline and relax in a green, car-free public space. So you can get creative with your city in a box and think up some ideas where people can move and travel sustainably, free from traffic. Okay, so the next stage is, now that you've built your actual frame of your city and that you've built your buildings, we need to start doing some layout of some paths and decorate it with some green space. So what I'm going to do next is start painting some lines for some walkways. And this is going to be our High Line here, so it's an overhead track in and amongst the buildings where people can walk and move. So just to make some even lines for this path and to make it nice and neat, I'm going to tape off the direction of the path, and then we're going to paint in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead here and make that tape. Alright, so now that that's done, this is our street. I want one lane for walking and one lane for cycling. So I'm going to do another layer of tape to tape off the cycle track. The cycling track is going to be yellow and the walking track is going to be white. So I'm going to go ahead now and start painting those in. So now that our bike line is done, I'm going to take the first edge of tape off while the paint is still wet so that you get a nice clean edge. And what's quite useful is if you have a bin at the ready to put the tape directly into. So now you have a nice clean edge along your cycle track. Ooh, and my hands are getting covered in paint already. So go ahead and continue to do this all the way to the other end. Okay, so now you have a nice clean edge on your cycle track. So now that we've finished the walk and cycle track along our high line, we've painted some pavements and street space in our city. I've gone ahead and I've put down our buildings. I'm not going to glue them down or tape them down, I'm just going to leave them loosely. What I'm going to do now is the fun part, is greening. So I've gone and picked a few shrubs and bushes that maybe look a little bit like trees. And I'm going to take a toothpick or something pointy, and I hope this works. I'm going to prod a couple of holes in the cardboard. And drop our trees into them. I'm going to use a little bit of sellotape on the underside just to secure them. So in my sustainable city, having lots of greenery is really important, and none of this space can be used by the private car. It's all for walking and for cycling. Alright, so last but not least, we are going to be adding in a few more buildings and homes. Here I'm just adding some finishing touches to the paintwork and adding in some directional lines for the cycle track. Voila, and there you go. That is my sustainable city, all completed and finished. So just to recap, we have the yellow cycle track that goes along the high line, which is up high and around the building so that people are not walking down in amongst buildings and street furniture. And then we have our skyscraper with our solar panel energy source on the roof. This here is the bakery, and we have our balcony here. And all of our little homes, plenty of green space. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed making this sustainable city with Green Schools. You can use the hashtag GreenSchoolsStayHome and tag us on social media, Green Schools I/E, to share the projects that you've made yourself. Stay tuned next week, we'll have loads more ideas and activities for the Green Schools Stay Home project.